Good evening, Golden Key members and also guests. I want to welcome for this professional development our guest speaker today. Her name is Miss Tammy Hill Thomas, and we call her Tammy Thomas. She is an established motivator, leadership coach, and public speaker focusing on executive excellence and accountability, strategic team building, and self-empowerment. She is committed to impacting the lives of those in the greatest need in communities throughout the United States and has been a prominent speaker in many forums alongside political appointees and community officials. Her dynamic mentorship has led to stronger leadership accountability in government and greater community service organizations. Tammy is the CEO of the Wellness Empowerment, a consulting firm which consists of experts of several disciplines, including the intergovernmental relations, executive leadership, finance, systems, innovation, sales, and marketing, technology, management, operations, nonprofit development, healthcare systems, human resources, wellness, life coaching, and personal development. As you can hear and see, she has quite the background experience. Tammy is a senior program specialist with HUD, Officials Special Needs Assistance Programs called SNAPS, and who leads its compliance team with more than 20 years extensive training in federal grants management and program development for special needs populations. She works with the state and local government officials across the nation to strategize on homeless program implementations and the implications of government policy. Tammy has received accolades from several community advocates and government officials, including former President Ronald Reagan and former Vice President Joe Biden, for her outstanding work in the plight of homelessness and her impact to the lives of those in the greatest need in communities throughout the nation. We now welcome Miss Tammy Thomas.
My goodness. Good evening. I'm hoping you can hear me well. Can you hear me all right, sir?
Yes.
Excellent. Good evening, Dr. Woods. To all of you assembled this evening, I certainly appreciate the opportunity to speak to the Ashford University family. I count it not robbery to be able to uplift and educate anyone who wants to be better, who wants to grow, not just professionally, but personally. I don't know whose resume that was. I'm just somebody out here trying to make a difference, that's all. So I certainly, again, appreciate the opportunity. So I've been asked just to take a few minutes just to discuss professional development. This is a course that I teach also at Kennesaw State University, and I actually sit as a corporate trainer with a lot of agencies across the nation as we work on cross-functional team building. So what that means is that everybody has to tap into what's uniquely part of them to inherently come together to achieve whatever the strategy or the mission is in front of them. As my resume reads, most of my experiences in homelessness, in government and nonprofit management and those type of things. So personal development, I've had the pleasure of doing on many different levels. It's an honor to serve people. And in my firm, the Wellness Empowerment, that's really what we do. We focus on developing individuals, developing agencies, developing governments, whatever the system function is, just trying to improve those. So what I'm hoping to do today is bring a little knowledge that'll help better whatever level you're on. Okay. Let me just start by saying the basic definition of professional development is constant self-evaluation. It's constant self-improvement. And I think now my laptop wants to act a little interesting, so I'm going to have to do a little technical adjusting. Sorry about this at the last minute. All right. There we go. Okay, hopefully you can still hear me. If you can't, just throw some signs and I'll call in and do what's necessary. We're going to get through this together though. Okay, so professional development. One of the great things, thank you, sir. One of the great things about understanding is those two key words. It's developing you And whether personal or professional, on whatever level you're on. So that's what I was saying a second ago. What's most important is to know that it's a constant stage of evolution. It's a constant stage of improvement. One of the things you'll hear throughout my discussion this evening is you never want to stop developing professionally. I remember being in a meeting with President Obama where he talked about professional development on a wider governmental level. So even at that level, a high government expectation, those folks who may have all the answers or have to make the decisions still have to grow and consistently change and evolve into whatever is going on right now. So one of the things, again, you'll hear me consistently say is to remember that the basis of it is to constantly increase your skills. Is to constantly stay in touch with the current trends, what's going on now versus what you believe you'll see in the future, or tap in the pulse of the folks that are projectors. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And staying aware of technical evolution. Listen, I come from the age of a beeper. I come from the age of the cell phone where you had to screw the antenna on the top of it. And now there's cell phones everywhere. Grandchildren have cell phones, little people, and they're just, now you're talking into your watch. So you never know what technical how technology will continue to evolve. It will continue to change. So in your professional development, you want to always make sure that you increase your skills, that you stay on the pulse of the current trend, because the stuff that worked in the 60s might not necessarily work today. And to also remember to stay technology savvy. Okay, so remembering that it's just about evolving, I just want to encourage you to remember the basics of how you manage you. That's all we're going to talk today. That's all we're going to talk about. How you manage you, personal and professional development. First, I want to remind you of a few things. Everything starts with you, right? You can't professionally develop Tammy. And I can't force you to do anything other than what you feel is inherently something that would interest you. So I'm a dancer and a fitness instructor, and there's things that I just love to do that are part of me. But if you don't boogie and if you're not looking to sweat at the gym, then that's not your thing. But there's something that's inherently hardwired in you that you want to make sure you tap into along your journey and stay connected there. So it always starts with you. It also always starts with 4 key elements. You have to have your goals, your plan, your dreams, of course, and your vision. And again, I'm going to reiterate this along the presentation. But in everything, you want to make sure that whatever your dream is, and I'm going to, let me specify. When I say your dream, let's look at it on a big level. Your dream is, I want to be rich, okay? We're going to say that's your dream. Your dream wouldn't be to necessarily own a Maserati, but that might be part of one of the things you want to accomplish. So let's just stay on the big picture. Your dream would be, I want to be rich, right? That would be one of the greatest things that could happen to you, because when you're rich, you have free time, you have free money, the obligations of having to stay in a structure, a 9 to 5, or deal with a boss, those type of things now have disappeared. Freedom becomes the greatest gift that you could ever have. The freedom to travel, to live, to do whatever you want to do, and do it the time and in according to the way that you want to accomplish it, right? So let's just say that's your dream. Well, with a dream comes having to plan, having to be structured in your vision. So I don't know if how many of you have a vision board. Usually every January, a lot of groups get together and they have vision board parties. A lot of corporations get together and they do vision board meetings with their corporate board members. I've done a few with some board presidents who bring their boards together to figure out what they're going to plan and the vision is for the next year. Because it's nice to have that dream to be rich, but you want to go the next level. You want to have that vision. So let's say my dream is to be rich. My vision would then be to own a company. I can have freedom when I own my own company. when I have investors coming to me, when I have a legacy for my children and my grandchildren, when I have that thing that makes me feel accomplished. So my vision is that I'm going to own a company because my dream is to be financially free. All right. But remember, with every vision, you got to have steps. You got to have goals, and goals are just measurable accomplishments. Okay. It's something that you can attain, something that you can feel great because you've accomplished. I told you I'm a fitness instructor. So one of the things that I tell folks is stop putting things down in the first of the year that you're going to join the gym and you're going to do all this fabulousness. Make them attainable goals. Make them things that you can do. So in that's when you develop your plan. So your plan is when you say on Monday, I'm going to do this. On Tuesday, I'm going to do this. On Wednesday, I'm going to do this. On Thursday, that's your plan. Monday at 10, I'm going to make sure that I have my meeting with my investor. Wednesdays, I'm going at 2, I'm going to go to the gym and work out because I have to stay healthy to be able to see my mission accomplished. So I just wanted to take a minute to break down the differences, because oftentimes we hear, oh, you got to have a vision, oh, you have to have goals, and you never really understand how they all intertwine, how they play into each other. And the reason they're important is because you want to grow in professional development, you got to have a goal. You have to have vision for where you want to go professionally, personally, with relationships, career-wise, financially, those who have spiritual connections, spiritually, whatever the things are that make you. The vision for what you want to do with that will help with your professional development. Again, I'm going to reiterate that throughout the whole presentation, so just go with me. I just wanted to lay some foundation for you, okay, some groundwork. Let me start with my first point. One of the things that I really want folks to get connected and understand, the best way to start moving into a path of professional development is to work on self-discipline and self-awareness. Remember, I started out by saying it all starts with you. Okay. So that means that you've got to look at your daily habits. Yeah, a lot of folks don't want to talk about daily habits, but you've got to look at what you're doing to stay healthy, what you're doing with your money. Are you financially sound? Are you working towards goals of keeping good credit or improving your credit, your savings? I tell folks all the time, we all have struggles, folks, that life happens to some people. And if you're young, you're just starting out. Well, don't get discouraged. It's okay to do that $10 away. It's okay to work towards your plan. Work towards your goal. Work towards your vision. Because remember, it's ultimately to make your dreams come true. Okay, so whatever your step in personal development is, you want to make sure you have sustained daily habits. If you ever Google what most rich folks say is their number one habit that they do on a daily basis, it's working out. Most rich folks are healthy. Every morning, the first thing they do is walk, or they meditate, or they find some way to focus and keep their bodies in a place where they're healthy, because having a lot of money brings a lot of stress. You have a lot more you have to deal with. You have a lot more you have to coordinate. And then you have to keep that vision for how you can continue to grow that money and stay with the trend so you know how to sustain that money. Okay? So in everything that we do, you want to have sustainable, regular, good daily habits. All starts with you. It's your personal responsibility to make sure that in your daily plan that I'm going to get up and work out, that it's all meant to meet your goal. My goal is to lose 50 pounds by the end of this year. But my vision is to stay healthy, because my dream is I want to be here for a while to enjoy all this money I'm going to get. Okay. So again, make sure that in your self-awareness and your self-discipline as part of your personal development, that you also consider that you living a professional lifestyle is not too much different than living a personal lifestyle. Health is health. A lot of folks that go to work every day and they put on a suit, they're unhappy because their personal life isn't a place of happiness for them. They're not sustained in a way where there's a positive culture around them. Listen, I tell folks all the time, sometimes you just got to make your space the most important space there is, the most peaceful space there is. Again, going into your daily habits. And here's another point. Make sure to manage your current position. So if you're currently working, I know there's some adults that are taking this course and that are hearing me speak. And there's some young folks that are just going to start applying and working, moving into the workforce. Wherever you are, you're talking to someone who started in frontline management. I started out as a caseworker dealing with the homeless. I started out as an entry worker at a homeless shelter. So I've done frontline. And you're listening to someone who's done middle management. You know, you have to learn how to manage at whatever level where you are, because growth is going to happen, right? Your goal is in front of you. You have a plan on how you're going to move forward. It's the steps and the process that you want to live successfully through. Anybody can go love the Lakers when they're on fire. But do you want to be there when they're practicing and when they're doing the drills and when they're eating healthy and when they're not home with their families because they're on the road? Would you sacrifice all of that just to be part of the team? It makes a difference if that's your goal, okay? So personal development definitely has everything to do with where you are in your position. So if you're frontline, for example, that just means that you have a different scope, a different value that you bring to the workforce. Still very valuable. So in everything, learn how to manage where you are. Okay, learn how to keep your pulse on those trends. What's going on the front line, you need to know about how the application processes are going on, how communication is at that level. Middle management, the same thing. Big difference with middle management and senior management. Been both of those as well, because now you're the buffer from the top and dealing with the folks that you supervise. So your position is a lot different. But in everything, you always want to make sure you evolve, control, and grow so that your personal development becomes just as established as your professional development. No one wants to go to work mad and upset. Nobody wants to deal with a job every day that they hate. I'm a professional business coach as well. So I have a lot of clients that I deal with. And this one young lady told me, I just can't stand it anymore. So I applied for a new job. If your professional goal is to be happy in a career, then change that career. Find a career that will make you happy. There's nothing in your plan that says, I'm stuck working for these people. Your plan is, I want to be in a place where I'm happy, where I'm growing, and where I'm as invested in the company as the company is in me, okay? So be clear. It's not your ownership to an entity or a person. It's your ownership to yourself first, regardless of the position where you work, okay? All right, so I want to move on because I have to always take time because we all work at different levels. Some of us are very hands-on the ground, and that's needed. Grassroots agencies are priceless. They're the ones that do the frontline customer service, okay? They're the waitresses. They're the restaurant managers. They do the folks on the phone when you call because there's a problem. They're your frontline folks. They're essential. So that communication and that development, if you're a frontline person, your happiness is just as important because it goes into that job. All right. So always make sure that you stay on the pulse of what will help you at that level in the middle management, senior management, and executive management. I'm a leadership coach. So I deal with a lot of high level government officials, and I deal with a lot of agencies and pastors and folks that, you know, they are responsible. They have a responsibility to lead others. So if I'm speaking to executives, it's the same instruction, the same information. What you want to do is get yourself in a place where your vision is clear and people can buy into your vision. That's the difference with executives. Still can be used on all those other levels. You always want to make sure if you're leading a team that the team understands where they're going, because a good leader will empower others to lead. Write that down. A good leader will empower others to lead, because then you're nurturing, you're growing, and you'd be surprised. Those folks that you grow will have your back as a leader when you need them to. I saw a picture that was floating around social media. It was a little cartoon. And on one side, there was a boss who there was a head of his staffer in the ground, and he had a tee on his head with a golf puck, like he was getting ready to hit the golf ball off the tee that was on the head of his employee in the ground. The other one was a boss whose staffer was in the ground. So out of the staffer came flowers and things that were growing out of them. And I presented both those pictures when I did a training session recently on cultural diversity to get their feedback. And one of the things that I asked is, which one would you be privy to? Which one do you respond to? Which one do you feel would empower you, would make you feel like you want to work with that person? Certainly nobody wants to feel like you're bossing me around. Nobody wants to feel like there's something being swung at me. But wouldn't you love to be in a place where you can follow a leader who takes time, who listens to it, who is as involved in your vision for yourself as you are? So those on the executive level, give ear to who you're leading. Those in middle management and senior management, same advice, and frontline. You've always got to make sure that you remember people matter. We are stronger when you invest in human capital. Human capital is more important than money, because money can go. People will always be available to support you. All right. So in your personal development and talking about self-awareness and self-discipline, I gotta end that one note by saying, cease procrastination. Procrastination kills everything that is a dream that's inside of you. I've missed opportunities because I waited just a minute. You'll miss a job opportunity, or you'll second guess something and the opportunity will go. My grandmother used to tell me, opportunity only knocks once. I'm trying to tell you, I lived it, I learned it. Grandma was right. So what you want to do is take time to really understand you're valuable. So if an opportunity arises, take advantage of it. Even if you don't feel prepared, you can always consult with someone. I'm a life coach. I'm a business coach. You have Dr. Woods, who's I'm sure available. There are other resources around you that you can tap into to be able to help you step up to where you are. And then before you know, you're an expert in that area, ready to step into the next. A lot of times procrastination is generated by fear and low self-esteem. So as you evolve, as you're growing yourself, make sure that you address both of those areas, because we're dealing with personal development. And remember, development is constant evolution, okay? Next point, time management. One of the biggest things, I did an all-day training just on time management. Time management is everything. And I'm not just talking about showing up for work on time, okay? I have a friend who's in the military, and he says that they're taught that if you show up on time, you're late. You always want to make sure that you're there early, because early is on time. Well, I'm speaking about lifetime management, setting your priorities. Do you have a to-do list, or are you just winging it? Are you trying to figure out what's going on? Oh, it's always something that's catching me off guard. All hell is breaking loose. You know, those type of things, the way that we feel when we get bombarded and overwhelmed. You can control time. Do you believe that? You have the power to minimize distractions and put more emphasis into the things that will bring you peace and happiness. Think about it. Most of us are on the train on our way to work. What are you doing during that time that could improve you, that could allow personal development to really grow? How about read a book? You're taking a class, learn a language. There are a lot of things that you can do in the time allotted to you. But most of the time we feel overwhelmed because we don't prioritize. So one of the things that I tell folks is always start. When you're starting at one at the beginning, if you've never heard anybody teach or talk about time management before, write down a to-do list. My boss taught me that years ago, and it's been invaluable. It has worked for me like you wouldn't believe. This is my to-do list. So I keep a book, a journal on a regular basis. If I have a conversation with someone, I write down what we just spoke about, or at least the name of the person and a follow-up, so I know. And everything I touch is here. You know why? Because if I never go back to it, at least I know if I need it 5 years from now, where I can find it. And at least when it comes to a time where I do have to do one of those tasks, I can scratch it off, check it off, keep moving. And if the list grows faster than I can accomplish things, don't worry about that. It's about tracking the things that you want to address, the ideas, those that come across your mind you need to remember, because we do deal with life and we deal with a lot of different tasks that pop up. What are you doing? How do you manage all of that? How do you manage all of that? We're in an information age. Everything in your phone? Awesome. Okay. You have a backup to your phone? What if you lose your phone? Or how do you check off those things as necessary? What's more important is that you make sure, another point, that you organize your life. Personal and professional development will always start with where you are and get you to where you're going. And then once you get to where you're going, you want to have a new step, a new outcome, a new goal for where you're going to go next. It's always going to be a step, always growth, always better. Warren Buffett stated that the other day. He put out a tweet or something where he was talking about continued growth. Warren Buffett is one of the wealthiest people on the planet, and he still wants to grow. It speaks a lot to how important growth and time management is in personal development. So make sure that in everything that you do, you manage interruptions when you can. You reduce the time spent on things that are important. Look, how many times do we immediately start texting and looking at text message and texting back and forth with people that have nothing to do with any priorities that we're dealing with at the time? Distractions. Now, fun distractions a lot of times, but if there's a goal in front of you you're trying to obtain, let's make sure that you stay focused on that, okay? And financial management as well. You know, I like Coach. That's my weakness. But there have been many times when I've resisted buying that Coach bag because I had a financial obligation I was trying to meet, financial goals. That's just Tammy. But whatever you have, wherever you are, you can reach it. You just have to set it in front of you. Remember, your goal, you have to work your plan to attain your goal. Your goal will help you make your vision. Your vision is ultimately to help your dreams come true. Financial freedom and time available to you, okay? So by setting priorities, reducing those distractions, making sure that you organize your life, and staying focused on your plan. I mentioned vision board parties. If you've never heard of that before, you don't need to have a board and do it that way. My vision board is on my wall. It's right here in my office, and it's personal. That's my personal vision board. And across the top of my vision board for Tammy is to have fun every day, to laugh, and to be happy. Those are the 3 most important goals I gave myself, that I want to be happy. I want to have fun every day. I find a way to smile because those are my personal goals. Because as I learned a few years ago after I had a fight with cancer, I learned that the happier I am in life, the better of individual I am across the board. I'm a better wife, sister, mom, grandma. I'm just better in general because I'm happy. So, but I made it a goal because for years I wasn't. For years I was more focused in other areas, and none of them had to do with Tammy. So I tell folks now on a level, whatever your vision is, your vision might be to write that book. Your goal might be to write that book because you want to do what Tammy's doing. You might want to be a speaker and a trainer. Listen, it's all attainable. What's the first step? It all matters with time and what you decide to do with the time in front of you, okay? Always begin with the end in mind. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that before. Your goal, right? You've got the goal. Most football teams start off by saying, I'm going to win the Super Bowl when they start in off season. Or they start in recruiting season. They start when they have to deal with other things that have to do with getting players and making sure that the staff and the facilities are up and everything else that has to do with the football season, selling tickets and promotion. before the Super Bowl even comes around. But the goal in the off season is to win the Super Bowl, not just to make it there, but we're going to be champions because hey, we're all winners inherently. But when you believe that, you start with that as the end. You start with your goal and knocking it out the park, believing that it's where you're going to be. So I encourage you today to remember that whatever your professional goals are, remember, start with them saying you've won, and then pursue them with that type of aggression. Pursue them with eagle-eye vision. You ever seen an eagle just go down when it's ready to get what it's going to get, its prey? It doesn't look at stuff around it. It's not caught up with anything else. It's in straight motion. And that's what you want to do to win. Stay focused on where you are with your time and with your goals and with your structure. Okay, so begin with the end in mind. Always remember, outcomes feel great. When you've accomplished something, doesn't it feel good? So keep that as your focus. I'm going somewhere. I'm going to do something. All right. Okay. So I want to get to this next point. I'm trying to be sensitive of time. And I just want to remind folks my third point would be to build and maintain successful relationships. Those are so important. Those are so very important. You have to be the best you possible for other folks to believe in you. I went years with low self-esteem, to the floor. The way I am now is 180-degree difference from how I used to be. I wore black all the time, called myself fat, had enough people telling me certain things. Bad relationships left me feeling with no self-esteem. So professional development wasn't even a concern. And I surely was trying to fight just personal development. But once I started putting my dream and then my vision for how I can achieve my dream, I realized I can dream. I have dreams. Let me tap into those and get a vision to that. And then I set goals. Look, if I'm not happy with my weight, I can do something about it. I got the power to change this thing. Let me start walking. And I've been walking now for 15 years and have lost 40 pounds and kept it all just from walking. But it's because of my goal, my daily habits to achieve that. My plan I'm sticking to, drinking water every day, eating healthy, those type of things. My financial goals, education. You're in this class for a reason. Why did you take it? Because it's meant to help increase you so that you can get to the next level, right? All right. So always remember, be the best you can. People will buy into you. People want to know about other people. They want to connect. We are more strong. We have better strength when we come together. One of the reasons I do team building sessions, especially cross-functional team building, is because there's something you know that I don't know. And if we come together, the power is crazy. It's amazing. Okay, it's amazing. So go be great. For real, go be great and understand the worth that you have in that. You're interesting. You are. So when you start talking about your personal development, start there. Be real with yourself. What interests you? If you're a bike rider and you're a cyclist, then that's what interests you. Then go there. Establish your goals, your plans, your vision around the things that make you happy, that interest you. You'll be surprised. I heard it said that it gets to a point when you get the job you love and then it's not work anymore. That's your goal. You want to get to that point where personal development becomes personal satisfaction. All right. Connect with those who value your authenticity. Wow. The things that are authentic about you will capitalize on others who have the same type of things authentic about them. I love the fact that there are folks that are musicians and they connect, they automatically start hearing music and they start talking and writing songs. And if you're ever in a session, they just go, and it's an amazing thing to witness how they vibe off of each other. And the bass player will say, oh man, I can do this. And then the drummer, oh, I can hit this. And they just start vibing off because they have that unique, authentic gift that connects. In personal development, that's what you want to do. I actually told a young lady the other day when she was going on and on about nobody in her circle believed in her and she couldn't find anybody to value anything about her. I said, upgrade your friends. It's time to get a solid circle of team you around you. Upgrade your people. There's nothing in life that says you have to stay in a rut, in a box, right? You want to get to that point, as a matter of fact, where you live out of the box. Open yourself up to new opportunities, new folks, new levels, new places. I love my folk that say, I'll never get on an airplane. You don't know what you're missing. Come on and just think about the fact that there's a whole world out there. And if you really want to increase and grow in personal development and professional development, think about the way that you can impact the same things you love to do overseas, in another country, worldwide. I guarantee that's what the rich folks do. All right. It's just important to remember that authentic you makes a difference. Upgrade your circle. Think about the folks who drain you. It's okay to cut some folk back and only see them during Thanksgiving. All right, y'all will never have me back again, so I'm gonna keep going. It's really important that you remember to attach to new things. Be open. Remember, I told you got to keep your pulse on the current trends, but always make sure that you're open to the technology and the way things evolve. Okay, it's very important that you remember that development is growth. That's what development is. If you put a seed in a pot or in the ground, you want it to develop into that flower, into that fruit, into that herb, whatever you're looking to have as the final product. So that means that it has to grow. It means that it has to be nurtured by things that are not like what it's in. If it's in dirt, putting it in more dirt doesn't nurture it. So water, another substance, has to come to nurture it, to help it grow and evolve into what it needs. So when I say upgrade, when I say connect to other people, that's what I mean. You want to get yourself in a place where you can develop and grow, because now you're learning. Just like you came to school, just like you started this education pursuit, you're going down a path to be better academically. Congratulations, that's awesome. What are you doing about self-fulfillment? Okay? So keep going and keep growing. Remember that growth comes from information from all levels and all ways. I spoke to a young lady the other day. She said, oh, I have a cell phone, but I'll never get on Facebook, or I'll never get on social media. I'll never get on it. Okay, so you're limiting yourself already by using that word never. Always consider you can control how you manage information. So for folks who feel like, oh, it's too much, you can control how you streamline and digest information. But do you limit yourself from accessing it? Because the more you know, the more you grow. The better you are, the stronger you are, because now I'm aware, okay? I'm going to go to my last point, my fourth point, and pass it right on back to Dr. Woods. My fourth point is always be a student. Always be coachable. Always be teachable. Always find yourself in places where learning is the priority. I mentioned Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, I believe, is in his upper 70s, might even be 80 by now, but I think he's in his 70s. He's one of the richest men in the world, still talks about growing and learning. When you get to that point where you have it all by other people's standards, and yet you still want to know, you still want to grow, you recognize two main things. Number one, somebody out there is always smarter than you. And the other thing is that somebody always has more information that you don't have. In both scenarios, you want those type of people around you. I worked for a boss a few years back, a CEO, beautiful young lady. And she ran a really big nonprofit in this particular city. And she didn't have a high school diploma. But it was a medical firm. She was the CEO. It was a medical firm. And she had licensed nurses that worked under her, and a lot of folks that really felt that they could grow in those areas with that nonprofit entity, but just wanted to tap into some type of agency that could give what they needed, right? So anyway, so she had nurses under her and psychiatrists under her, psychologists under her. She didn't have a high school diploma. So I asked her one day, she was my boss. So I asked her one day, how do you do that? She dropped some wisdom on me I'll never forget. She said, I don't need to know what they know. I need to ensure I have them around me so that I can reach my goal. When she spoke those words, they stuck to me like concrete, like glue, like Gorilla Glue maybe. Because it's important that you always remember to have folks in your corner that can elevate you, that can make you have stuff that you don't have, that can help you access avenues that you don't know. Because here's the thing, if you're doing the same thing with the same people all the time, that's the limit to you. You've hit your ceiling, right? But if you get out the box and start branching to new people, start connecting, start asking questions. So how did you do that? That's one of the things I tell folks. You want to be like me? Come sit down and talk to me. Ask questions about from the person that you want to be. If you want to be Warren Buffett, go send him a message. See if you can have a meeting with Warren Buffett. You want to be Dr. Woods and figure out how you can do something amazing at a university because you've just always dreamed of doing that. There are resources and people around you to help you accomplish your dreams. That's the bottom line to professional and personal development. Find a mentor. Connect yourself with someone who's living what you dream. Even if it's not to the moon, but it's right where you are. Even if it's just the next step of your goal. For example, let me give you an example. If you've always wanted to be an author, but you know, at the end, for real, I don't just want to be an author. I want to be an author and have them write a movie from my book. That's an awesome goal. But you haven't even written the book yet. So connect to an author. Figure out how to get your book written. And then you can go and connect to screenwriters and figure out how to make it a movie, okay? Wherever you are, start right there. But you want to always connect yourself to people that have things you don't have so that you can get to where you want to go, all right? Again, Dr. Woods and Ashford University, I certainly appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to you all. I have to publicly thank Olethea Robinson for even extending the opportunity for me to join this fabulous family. I think you guys do excellent work in the community and certainly excellent work in the lives of everyone who's a student that comes through Ashford. And I'm glad to be connected. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Ms. Hill, thank you also. I thought that was amazing from the standpoint that you took that holistic approach where you're talking about having a healthy body, a healthy mind, healthy finances, healthy relationships, healthy goals, healthy lifestyle. With all of those, I think that our people can do what you were talking about fixing on your goals and then being persistent at all times. And so that was really good. Look, I'm unmuting the students so that they can talk to you at this point.
Oh, certainly, certainly.
Okay, so any of you who would like to ask her a question or make a statement, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. Just go ahead and unmute yourself and talk.
I just want to say, I'm sorry, this is Catherine Daniels. I just want to say thank you, Terry, for coming and speaking. I really, connect with exactly what you're saying and everything you're saying. I didn't start college until I was probably 26 or something like that. Like actually in college, I had started it once, but never finished. And so I actually went this time, the second time, and finished. But I'm 30 now and just finished. And, I've come to realize over the past 4 years the importance of keeping healthy relationships and not necessarily, not or relying on the wrong people, for things that they can't provide you. There's people that can appreciate the assets and things about you that you actually have to offer, and there are people that can't. And it's not necessarily that they're wrong or bad or anything like that. It's just that, they don't have the assets that match up with yours to be able to allow, people to grow. And so,
Right.
yeah, I really resonated with what you were saying. So thank you again for speaking.
Oh, my pleasure. And thank you for sharing that, because you hit a really important part. People are people. I say it in my language, Tammy Rise. I say folks are folks. So my sister told me something years ago that always stuck with me. Everybody has an opinion. And when you take folks' opinions, eat it like fish. You eat the meat from the good stuff and you spit out the bones from the bad stuff, okay? So when folks feed into you, you have choice in what can stick and grow to help you develop versus what you don't need to allow to stick to you. But you don't, like you say, sometimes folks come from where they are and it's not meant for ill intent, it's just different perspective. Just figure out what works for you and will help you in your development versus what you have to waste time with. Listen, I don't have bail money for any of y'all. So having somebody upset you and decide you want to go off on them, that's not the answer. And I'll tell you what I know dealing with high-level government officials. What you see on TV is more interesting behind closed doors. And it really, you have to have a place of stress management to be able to deal with all of that. So that was a great point that you made. Just let people be who they are and you stay connected to the ones that better you.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
He's muted. He's muted.
Miss Robinson.
Hello.
Good evening.
Oh, can you see me?
No, ma'am. I just saw your name.
Okay. I don't know how to this is my first time doing Zoom, so I can't do the video. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking time out to speak to everyone. It was very informative, and I truly appreciate you.
Thank you, Madam CEO. Appreciate you more. My pleasure.
And William, you are your microphone is muted, so we can't hear you.
I'm not talking right now. Well, now I'm talking, but I wasn't talking.
Now he's talking.
Do you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, April.
Okay. Hi, Tammy. I just want to say thank you. Most of all, I think everything that you said was confirmation, total confirmation for me. I'll be 41 this year, and I started my journey with Ashford about 6 years ago. And I have grown and developed into someone I didn't see myself as 6 years ago. Being raised in DC and Southeast with all the violence.
What? That's home, sister.
Yes. So I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you and everything that you said. It was definitely confirmation for me. I was just having a conversation with my coworker today, telling her, you know, I don't want no negativity around me. People in my life that's positive, that's going to support me, and that's going to be teaming me for my dream, for what I want to do, and that way I can lift somebody else up. So I thank you for everything that you said.
Oh, my pleasure, April. I'm PG County girl. Nice to meet somebody from home. And
okay.
You keep your head up. Listen, one of the things I tell folks is never too late. I saw on social media the other day, a young lady who I believe was 92 graduated from college. 92. So you keep on going. As long as it's your mission and it's your dream, you keep going as far as you want to. It's never too late. Go be the best you out there. Congratulations.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
The floor is yours, Olethea.
Oh, the floor is mine again? Okay.
Yes.
Well, again, just thank you so much for coming on, and we truly appreciate you taking the time out to educate everybody and give us some great insights.
It's absolutely my pleasure, ma'am. Thank you. Again, I appreciate any opportunity I have to uplift folks. You know, if I could leave as a last word, I would just say, live without limits. And if at all possible, remember that you matter. A lot of times we deal with stuff in life that like knocks the wind out of us, knocks us down for a minute. We have to bury loved ones. I was just recently furloughed for almost 5 weeks, and it was a little rough for a minute, so we deal with stuff that we don't even warrant. That is nothing you did. I didn't ask for lymphoma, and I went through that battle. But the thing that I learned through it all is it's not the moment that you're in. It's the process sometimes you have to go through. That's the personal development. And personal development will bleed into professional development because it's your focus. So just continue to grow, continue to believe that you're phenomenal, and just go on and be great. That would be what I would say. And again, thank you for the opportunity, sir.
You're welcome. Hey, there's a person in the chat box, and that person, Ty Corey, says, I caught the last 20 minutes and I am kicking myself. I did not hear the previous information. Thank you, Tammy.
Oh, bless your heart, Ty Corey. Go be great. That's the sum. You be great. Go be great. Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank you, Dr. Woods.
Thank you very much. And I hope that all of us continue to evolve, control, and grow as you have admonished us to do. And thanks again. And hopefully we get to see you again.
My pleasure. Always available.
All right. Everybody, that concludes the presentation of having Miss Tammy Hill here. And I wish you all well in your classes. And we hope to see you in another event soon. Take care now.
Good night.
Good night.